Not quite ready yet. My son had his last appointment at Children's Hospital. We have been with them since he was 3 days old. So it was a little emotional, and it took a lot longer than we thought. And it's kind of funny because I was worried about me getting emotional. I didn't think everybody else would get emotional too, but they did. So it was uh, it was a big special day. Those people helped me keep my child alive, helped me keep him healthy, and I am forever grateful. I have often said that my son spent 5 weeks in a NICU, and we've spent 20 plus years at Children's Hospital, and they are two of the greatest places you never, ever want to have to visit. So that all being said, today we are making mock turtle soup, which is, it's funny, when I started researching all this food, I found out that, some of these things that I've been eating my whole life, I did not realize were native-ish to Cincinnati. Also, the other thing we're making today is steak hoagies. And wow, does that get contentious online? Because Philadelphians don't like it when we call what we call a hoagie. Some of them anyway. I'm sure they're not all that way, but the irony of it is they're like, it's been like this for years. And I'm like, well, I'm 63 years old and I've never called it anything but a hoagie. So, so there's that. Now we're going to start. I decided to do this in the Instant Pot today because it's supposed to cook for an hour or two, and we don't want to be sitting here for an hour or two waiting for this to cook. So we're going to start with some ground beef, and we're going to mash that up. This helps mash it up into smaller pieces. So we're going to start with that. Got the saute feature going, and we're going to let that get started. And while that gets started, I'll move this over here. Actually, I need that. I'm going to move this over here now. And I'm going to call the IT guy and ask him to please turn off the eggs that we're hard boiling, because that is part of this. It's part of the garnish for mock turtle soup. And I had a can of, I was going to show you guys. So this is the company that makes mock turtle soup locally, but this has wheat in it, so I couldn't eat it, but I needed a picture for all of my, I needed images. And when you look up turtle soup, it generally has, even mock turtle soup has a lot of mushrooms in it. And I don't make mine with mushrooms. I don't garnish it with mushrooms. So that is something that was brand new to me. So I had to make my own. Sometimes you can use images that are out there. Sometimes you can't, especially when you're cooking things that are regional or special or whatever. So, yeah, I went and I was looking at something about hoagies, and what I call a steak hoagie is very different than what someone in Philadelphia calls a steak hoagie, because theirs is a cheesesteak, mine is not. So that will be something that I know some people will not be thrilled about if they were to see that, but that's okay. We have our regional differences for a reason. People from Texas don't think our chili is chili, which is fine. So, all right. This is starting to annoy me. I love my kitchen knives. I don't know how you guys are, but man, I do like my kitchen knives. So, our meat is starting to brown, which is awesome. And because of that, we're going to take off another layer of our onion. So it's supposed to be a medium onion anyway, so it was a pretty large onion, and now it's going to be pretty much medium. So all worked out in the long run. For those of you who are moms or have moms, and hope you had a nice Mother's Day weekend. If you're someone for whom Mother's Day can be a little more difficult, I see you, I hear you, and you have my I want to say sympathy, but you have my understanding, I think is a better way to put that. So, and it's funny, they talk about, you know, dicing this stuff up fine, but anymore we've got ways to do that. We don't need to do it in a super fine dice because we can always use like an immersion blender if we want to thin something out. So I'm going to do half of this onion, put it in there, and then I'm going to smush it all up again. But that's the base of our soup. Even though it's called mock turtle soup, it's made with beef. Apparently there was a time that turtle soup was considered a very luxurious item and very exotic and very sought after. And people still eat turtle soup today. I'm not sure I could do that. Maybe if I didn't know what I was eating, but I can't imagine eating a turtle on purpose. And I know there's people that look at me and can't imagine eating a cow on purpose. So I understand. I don't judge people for it, but it's just not my kind of thing. So anyway, all right, we're going to do the other half of this onion while we're hanging out here. And then we're going to finish up cooking that. Actually, I'm probably going to slice another onion because for the hoagies, I will do some sauteed onions. My husband doesn't mind them raw. I don't like them raw. I prefer them sauteed. But man, if I can get some sauteed onions on a what we call a steak hoagie, I love it. All right, there goes the knob. Toss these guys in. I'm gonna use a spoon to break up the big pieces in here. The nice thing about doing it in your Instant Pot is it all becomes a one pot deal then. Now you could do this in a Dutch oven as well if you wanted to. And that would be lovely. And I used 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I will have this recipe on my website at some point. Also, I thought this was very interesting. Again, this is kind of a German-based thing, so I need 15 ginger snaps. So let's count them out. And they go in 12 ounces of water. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that is to thicken the soup. So with the little crumbs. They are gluten-free. Gluten-free ginger snaps. So we're going to let them do their thing in the water for a little bit. We're going to set that aside. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and slice this up since we've got a little bit of time to do that. Which reminds me, I forgot to get the oil out, so I will have to have IT guy get me the oil at some point. And I've got my hard-boiled eggs over there, which is also part of the presentation of the turtle soup. I don't know why, I just know it's always been that way. Some people do lemon slices with it, and there are actually lemon slices that I will be putting in the soup. And I scoured for different kinds of recipes, and man, they run the gamut. One of the things that several of them call for is browned flour. And browning gluten-free flour isn't always the best thing. So when I found a thickener that had the gluten-free ginger snaps, I decided to run with that one instead. So, but I've combined about 4 different recipes, and we'll see how it all turns out. Because, I mean, that's all you can do, right? Just see how it all turns out. So, give this a good stir. Boy, it's amazing how just a couple of days off from cooking, I have to kind of remind myself some of the things I do. I need a checklist, to be honest. I keep saying that to the IT guy, and we keep talking about it, but we haven't really done anything with it yet. So that will be something we do here in the near future. So that's 1/2 of the onion cut up. Hey, IT guy, if there's anybody in chat, I can't see them because I've got that other screen up for me. But I'm gonna cut these, and then I'm going to set them aside so I don't start crying. I've done enough of that today. Like I said, that last trip to Children's kind of did me in. These people have been a part of our lives for a very, very long time. All of IT guy's life, the entirety of it. He was diagnosed at 3 days old, so they've been around a while in our lives. I think we're done with that. I'm going to wash that off with some hot soapy water. And then rinse it. Put it in the dish drainer. There we go. All right. So there's that. And then we're going to see how this is doing. It's doing really well. Okay. The one thing we don't want to do is get too much stuff on the bottom. We don't want to let it sit and get a bunch of yuck on the bottom, because that can really cause problems when you try to close it up to cook it as the soup. So there we go. Giving that a smush to make it a little bit smaller. Set that there. And then I'm going to turn it off for now. And I could take this out of here. Or I could do this. Hang on just 1 second. I'm just grabbing a couple things that I can use. And I'll be right there. Okay. Here we are. Take some paper towels. We're going to wad those up. Or not wad those, but roll them up. And then we're going to pinch them like this. And we're going to gather up the grease. Okay, so I got most of it, but I still have a little bit left, and I'm out of paper towels, so we need a couple of napkins here. And yes, when I'm doing it by myself, I don't always do it like this. So, hey Joan, good to see you. Oh, making mock turtle soup today. And we were talking about the word steak hoagie. That apparently what we call a steak hoagie here in Cincinnati, they get really mad about that if they're from Philadelphia. But oh well. Can't please everyone, can you? So, anywho. All right, so we've gotten all the grease out of there. I know we're ready to start adding the other ingredients, and oh, that smells so good. All right, just ground beef and onions so far. So now we're going to start building the flavor of this soup, and it's kind of a wild one. So we need 12 ounces of ketchup. That should be most of what's left in this bottle. How are we doing here? Just short of 12. So, like I said, about what was left in here. Alrighty. Yep, that's very close. So I'm going to put that over there. Rinse that out when I'm done. Okay. Get myself a spatula. And I'll add in ketchup. A lot of recipes call for molasses. They call for ginger, which I'll get all of that from the ginger snaps that are currently turning to mush and water. I need 12 ounces of beef stock, which, again, my favorite kind from, hi Ruby, hi Sniper. Sniper, no sniping. Sniper, no sniping. Sorry, had to. No, it is not pre-recorded. I am live. So, I'm live and cooking right for you. So, we are currently putting together a mock turtle soup that I've been eating since I was a child until I became gluten-free. Then I couldn't eat it anymore because it's got wheat in it. So, I'm making a gluten-free version of that. Let's see here. We've got the things I still have to use. So, the thing that's really kind of cool about soup is you just keep building flavors. The more stuff you put up. Hey, Christy, welcome in. I'm glad you're doing well, though. I'm glad you're here. So, oh, okay. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Nobody's chatting. So, I need a tablespoon of beef concentrate. And while this doesn't say it on the label, I have looked it up everywhere. And apparently, the Knorr beef concentrate is gluten-free. So that's pretty cool. I need a tablespoon of cider vinegar. A lot of this stuff, we're just going to eyeball it. I pretty much know how much it is. So, all right. That's about a tablespoon. Thank you. I appreciate that. Leaving a like. That's always awesome. Okay, I need a teaspoon of allspice that I just bought because I didn't have any. I only had whole allspice. So, and I use it in other things. So, it's a great smell. I need a teaspoon of that. So again, we're going to approximate. That's about a teaspoon. And then oh, these are small bay leaves. So I'm going to stir all this up. All right, now, as I said a little bit ago, I put 15 ginger snaps that have now dissolved. This will help thicken the soup. Put that in there. All right. It smells interesting. Doesn't smell quite like turtle soup, but we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Let's see. I also need I think it was 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire. There's 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire. Okay. Wipe my hands off because it's got yuck on them. Wipe my space up because it needs it. Because these are small, I'm going to see if I have my spice ball handy. If I do, it's going in there. These are going to be hard to find. My spice ball, I can't find it. You know, I would say it's a junk drawer, but it's really not a junk drawer. I use everything in here at some point. But things do get moved around, and I can't always find what I need when aha! I'm going to use this one. Let's behave today, okay? We have guests. Thank you. All right, so I've got 3 bay leaves, and I'm going to put those in this little spice ball or a tea strainer, however you want to look at it, but it's going to go in anyway. Makes it so much easier to get them out of there. And then, oh, that's right, I dropped the lid. Here we go. Watch my head. Oh, I didn't smack it. Hooray. And then 3 thin lemon slices I'm going to need, which I've already used 1 cutting board, so I need a different one. Don't need this anymore. That can go in there. That I might need again. This can go back in here. I'm trying to clear the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. And then I need 3 very thin lemon slices. I'd say those are thin. Woohoo! All right, so there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. That was a little bit thicker, but that's okay. We're just going to impart some lemon flavor into the soup. So I may need to use that again, so I'm just going to put that back there. going to put this here. Pull this up because that's what we're going to use next. Okay, and I need my lid. Make sure that's in place. It is. Okay. Now we're going to set our pressure cooker on manual for, I'm going to say, says 10 to 15. I'm going to do 13. Let's go in the middle-ish. So I wish you could smell it too, because it's an interesting smell. It's kind of beefy, but there's a little bit of lemoniness to it. And I'm going to put this to the side so it can go do its thing. And now we're going to make the really controversial thing. It's the thing I grew up calling a steak hoagie. If you're from Philadelphia, I apologize. But this is what I grew up calling it. I've called it that for 60, close to 60 years. I mean, I'm 63, so we've been eating hoagies my whole life. But this is how we make them. This is what we do, and this is what we call them. So, again, it was something you could buy the patties. Now that I have my issues with gluten, I have to make my own. But it's something that you can make and freeze, which is lovely. That way you've got stuff to whenever you want it. And so I'm going to cut this open. Costco changed their ground beef. They used to have a little tab on these that you could very easily just peel them open. You can't do that as easily anymore. And even the regular plastic they have, it's like they reinforced it or something. So it's hard to open. So, oh, hi Ella, I haven't seen you in ages. You're right. I'm really good, thanks. I am making something we call mock turtle soup here. This is a very regional dish. See what I mean? I feel like maybe I need a new blade. I don't know. We'll have to check. But, all right. So there's that in there. And, oh, there it is. All right. It's time. It's time. Because this girl doesn't like to touch raw meat. So, oh yeah, I always forget that. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, if you would, I'd love it. Really appreciate it. Helps us out a lot. We were just talking about that today at my son's doctor's appointment. But it was a very sad day. And Joan, I haven't forgotten about your message. It's still there. I just haven't. It's been wild, dear. It has been wild. So you'll share your story. I'll share my story. So, hey, IT guy, can I get an egg, please? One of the thing about hoagies, steak hoagies here, is it's got a really smooth consistency. So I want to duplicate that as much as I can. 1 egg, please. Yes, no, one of those, sorry. Sorry, we have hard-boiled eggs as well. So that, we have our own sign language, IT guy and I. So, thank you, dear. All right. Now what? I'm going to put the other one on so I don't have to get egg on my hand. Okay. So we're going to put that in there. It's similar to a meatloaf, but no breadcrumbs. For obvious reasons. So, all right. Those of you who are moms, like I said, for those who are moms, I said this earlier, I hope that you had a lovely Mother's Day. If Mother's Day is a difficult day for you, I understand more than you know. And for those for whom it was another day, just another day, I hope you had a lovely Sunday. So I learned something once from watching an Asian creator when she mixes stuff in, she mixes it like this, where if you do it like this, like we often do with meatloaf, it can get really tough if you overwork the meat. This way, it doesn't get tough, which is pretty cool, actually. So they do a little bit of mushing in, but then they kind of like stir it with their fingers. It's really interesting. So this isn't quite as juicy, if you will. So, all right. So I'm going to try my best to, now I have small hoagie rolls or sub rolls. They're very small. I didn't make it out to the place where we get them. And I am going to try something new. I'm going to try to put mine on sourdough, gluten-free sourdough. See how that comes out. So, yeah, I thought it was too, Ruby. I really did. So I'm going to go ahead. This is about 1.5 pounds of meat. And I'm going to split it into as much as I can, 4 even pieces. Take that off of there. And then see if those look about right. Make sure one's not like substantially bigger than the others. Or in this case, there's one that's a bit smaller, and this one's a bit bigger. So now I think we're good. I think we're all about the same. Yep. Okay. So because it's hoagie shaped, obviously, that's the shape we want of the meat. And it's okay for it to be thin. As a matter of fact, steak hoagies around here are always thin. So we are making what my family would prefer, which is when my husband orders a steak hoagie, it's automatic. Pickles, onions, cheese. For him, for IT guy, it's pickles and cheese. I used to get it with a mushroom gravy, which is funny because it says mushroom gravy, but there's barely a bit of mushroom in it, to be honest. It was good, but that wasn't, it's just easier if we're making it this way now for us all to have the same thing. So mine will be with grilled onions, or sauteed onions, really, not grilled, but sauteed onions and pickles and cheese and pizza sauce, sorry. So any way to get a little extra vegetable, right? I'm counting it. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm getting if I'm having onions, I'm counting that as a vegetable for sure. So, all right. So there's that one. And I'm sure most places would tell you to go ahead and like chill them for about 30 minutes, but I didn't want to do that. So they'll cook fine. I'll just have to be really careful. And I will probably cook them, while I cook the onions, I'll only cook one at a time. So, okay, that should fit the, it's easier to put them down. Once you get them in the basic shape, it's easier to actually put them on the parchment paper. So anyway, yeah, it is a good technique, Joan. It really is. And it does make for some really, I try to remember when I do meatballs, the different kinds of meatballs that I make, and man, can it make a difference between a really chewy meatball and one that's not so chewy. So, all right. We've got our 4 pieces of meat. Yeah, I'm going to take these off. I'll put new ones if I need them. I like these because they're biodegradable, so I don't feel quite as guilty using them. Oh, into the dishwater with those. And then I'm going to make a little trade here. Hey, IT guy, can you come help me, please? I'm going to have you take that for just a second. And you can put that right there. I just didn't have a place to set it down while I needed to move this. So unplug that, plug this in, make sure it goes under the paper so it doesn't get into the stuff. Gonna put these in the dishwater as well. That's something I did figure out. If I put all that in the dishwater, it gets a lot easier to do the dishes right after I'm done. For me, that's a me thing. I'd rather do it. I actually would rather do it. I'm gonna wipe this off before I start cooking. It's got some stuff on it. Ooh. Okay. All right, now we're gonna switch these two. I'm gonna put this over here where you guys can see. Grab my onions right here. And we're gonna turn that on. It's supposed to go on about a medium heat with this particular skillet. A little oil in there for our onions. I know it's a nonstick pan, but for some reason I like to have the oil with it. Whew. All right. Can you believe we're almost halfway through May already? Isn't that crazy? And Memorial Day is early this year, about as early as it can get. So, as a matter of fact, it is as early as it can get because the 31st is on a Sunday. So, it's going to feel like May is over like that. And here we are in summer already, which is wild to me. It's just wild. But I'm going to turn this up one notch. Hopefully that's not a problem for the pan because we want to get it shimmery before we toss it in there. Oh. Some months feel like they drag. March or May feels like it's just flying right through. Maybe because I need to go to the doctor. I think that might be it. It's like, wait, not so fast. That's not ready yet. Take that back out. Oh, now it's getting there. So, still working on April. That's great. Well, for us, we've had, it's funny because we've actually had a spring, which the last several years we go right from cold to hot. And we've had a lot of days in like the 60s and 70s. We've had a couple days where it got cold again. And it's just like, oh man, I planted early, which I hardly ever do. Usually I'm lucky to get things in the ground by June. And I happened to plant in April just because it was warm and it just felt like the right thing to do. And so I went ahead and planted things, and I've lost a few things because they were in there too early. Some, which is interesting because I lost some stuff that typically is pretty hardy in the cold, like cauliflower and cabbage. So not sure what happened there, but I have some sliced half onions, so I'm just kind of breaking some of those up because they're kind of on top. And I can grab them without burning myself. Trust me, I'm not grabbing it out of the hot oil. So, oh, okay, Ruby, if you're in Indiana, you totally get what I'm talking about. So I'm just one state over, so it's been a roller coaster. Alrighty. I need a rubber spatula for this particular pan. And I'm gonna coat all these onions, and then I'm gonna kind of push them to the side and start cooking the steak hoagies. Now it's interesting because Around here, you can tell which, mostly like pizza places are the ones that have steak hoagies, and some of the Greek diners. And you can tell often which, if it's a local chain, you can tell which one it came from just by the bun that it has, which is pretty funny. So we have one chain called the Roses, and I'm going to be using their sauce. Um, and uh, their seeds tend to have their buns have poppy seeds on them. And then there's another chain called Angelo's, and they have theirs is just a plain bun. And then some of them toast the bun, some of them don't. Some of them you have the option of garlic butter on it. Um, ooh, it was too long for the spatula to get under. So we're gonna get that in the pan, get that started. There's only room for one with the onions in there. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer, but I actually was kind of proud of myself because I actually got things in the ground. And some of it's growing. I mean, I've got some sunflowers that are going to be probably done long before normal, which is fine with me. Um, I seeded tomato plants, and they're coming up, so that's exciting. And oh, I did get my first harvest last night. Let me show you. Look at the size of these things. These are French radishes, and they generally look kind of like this, but some of these got to be behemoths. So, and I found a pickling solution. Recently, I went to a new restaurant around here, and it's got a Mediterranean vibe to it. And they had something called a cucumber radish salad, and I found the recipe for it. So I was out of Persian cucumbers, so I had to run get Persian cucumbers. But I'm going to take those, and I'm going to make the pickled radish and cucumber salad with that. So that's really exciting. I've never harvested anything this early, so that was really fun. But I actually paid for a gardening group last year, and she teaches you how to garden based on where you live. And basically said, even where I live in Ohio, that you can garden year round. So, for the most part, she's like, there may be a couple months where you can't, like where we are, and she's in Chicago. So she's like, there's a couple months I can't garden. She's like, you would be surprised how by how long you can actually run a garden. And one of the things I didn't know was that things that you grow early in spring, wherever you happen to be, are the same things that you can cook in the fall. Who knew, right? Or cook, that you can grow in the fall. You just start them as seeds, like you can start them inside, or you can even start them outside late in the summer, and you can get things like snap peas, and I'm trying to think some of the things she said that we grow early for our zone, like snap peas. You can get some broccoli and some of the cabbages and things like that. So it was a really cool thing to learn. I was like, okay, that was worth what I paid. It wasn't cheap, but just learning that, you can save yourself a lot of money growing those things in the fall. Plus, they said a lot of the bugs that you normally get in the spring aren't alive in the fall. So you're like, well, that's a cool idea, isn't it? So at least I thought it was. So, all right. These onions are taking a while. I wish I'd sliced them a little thinner, but my burger patty is cooking up here. It's going to end up being just about the right size our for our buns. I'm going to try to get the next one in there. Okay, so that did seal. I didn't hear the Instant Pot seal. I was a little worried all of a sudden. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, get that next one in there. Get it started on the cooking process. What I found about this cooktop is once it gets to temperature, you usually have to turn it down a bit so you don't burn stuff and it cooks through. I don't want the outside to be overdone and the inside to not be done. So a few more minutes on those onions and then I can put more of the burger things in there. But I don't know about you, but like on a hoagie or something like that, I like the onions to be a little bit bigger. I don't want them to be like diced up kind of thing. Well, one of the smaller ones. Come in. That's cooked enough for me. I don't like raw onions. I only like cooked. So I always ask for them grilled on a lot of things. I do that when I get a gyro. I ask them if I can get my onions grilled. Most of the time, they're intrigued by it more than offended. I have been in one or two Mediterranean places where they're like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, okay, no onions then. Look, there's tradition and then there's eat what eat something that makes you happy, right? So I actually had a cardiologist that said that. He's like, we need to find something that works for you. He said, because if it doesn't, you're not going to follow it anyway. And I was like, I've done this long enough to know. I said, well, good for you, buddy, that you understand that people need food that they're going to enjoy. Otherwise, you might as well just give it up. Because if you're not enjoying life, you don't have the incentive to keep going, right? To do all the right things. So, better if you can enjoy life, enjoy food. I love enjoying life and enjoying food. So, now I can get all these lovely patties in here. Hey, IT guy, I could use your help. I need a big plate. And we're going to turn the piece of parchment that we use. We're going to put the sides together that had the raw meat on it, and then we're going to lay the cooked meat on top. So, oh. All right, thank you, love. And you might want to open a window. We're starting to get smoke in here. So we've got these cooking away here. So nice. Yeah. I wish I liked green peppers, but they don't like me. If I eat green peppers, I will be eating them for several days. They just, they talk back and it's not fun. So I have the same problem unless they're really done well. And I like anchovies, but sometimes, man, I cannot eat an anchovy if they're super fishy because I will just keep eating it, if you will, keep tasting it for days. All right. While those are doing their thing, oh, there's our soup that just got finished. So we're going to let that natural pressure release for a few minutes. And then I'm going to prep the buns for the guys. These are not gluten-free buns. These are gluten-y buns. So I don't make my family eat gluten-free, because if you eat gluten-free, you already know it's expensive. So, but around here, we tend to butter the hoagie buns. All right, where's it? Ah, there it is. So I'm going to cut those open for them. And again, if you're celiac, please don't have a heart attack. I don't need everything to be separate. A little tiny bit of cross-contamination. What I just did, and then put it in the butter, that can make a celiac person sick. So I am aware of that. I don't have that. My sensitivity isn't that sensitive. So I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. You know, I want people to know that I'm very aware of what that would be like for someone who's celiac. You don't want to cross-contaminate those things for them. So I'm going to turn this down a little. And I'm going to flip these again. They're getting a nice crust on them, but I also want them to be done in the middle. So, okay. And that needs a little more cook time. Give that a little flip. Give that a little flip. This might even be something, if I did it again this way, I might use a burger press, to be honest. So, all right, and then I'll do this. So most of the time, you can request it this way, and I know my family prefers it this way. The other thing I almost forgot, a little bit of added garlic on there. Yes, that's me, Christy. I am one of those people who cannot tolerate a green pepper, but I can eat a red pepper, especially if they're roasted. So, so good. And I've told many, many people, I was like, look, I truly wish I could eat some of those things, because there's certain things. Oh, I remember when my mom used to make stuffed peppers when I was a kid. I hated it for that reason, because it would repeat on me, and it was just not fun. So just because now I've said it and it's in my head, I am going to get a fresh knife for myself. So this is a new brand, and I've heard on some of the gluten-free websites that this Franz gluten-free deli style sourdough is really, really good. So I'm going to try that for my hoagie. There is a local company that I also want to get some of their stuff, but they're like 40 minutes away for me to go get it. And that just didn't happen this weekend. So this was at the grocery. I'd never seen it there before, so I decided to try it. So I'm going to flip these one more time. Oh, these are looking so nice. This is kind of off the heat. Whew! I turned it down twice. So, all right. There's going to be way more bread than I need. Oh well. C'est la vie, as they say. And the other thing is, I'm only going to toast one side, so I'm just going to turn the broiler on for a couple of minutes. Because, especially with sourdough, it can really rip up your mouth. So, and again, this isn't something we eat like every day because this is, I don't know about you, but I have to eat healthier these days or it's just not a pleasant way to live. So, actually, I think I'm going to move this down here, put these guys in here. That'll work. And then we're going to broil. Go down to 3 minutes. I think we'll be good. Turn that off. Pull these guys off the hob. And then just because I don't want it bubbling in my face. So, hi Marilyn. I'm going to go put this on the stove real quick. And I'm going to grab my eggs, which I will need for the soup. We're going to just let that sit right there for a sec. It's not hot, but it's not cold either. So. I have been making my eggs in an Instant Pot for a very long time. And yesterday, while I was working on some imagery for my pictures, I tried to boil an egg. I got it so wrong 3 times. I was like, I cannot believe I can't even boil an egg anymore because I'm so used to doing it in the Instant Pot. I set it for a timer and it's all good and it does exactly what I need it to. But, oh well. So, but I can tell by the feel of these. I hope they're not overdone. But I was going to make sure because the first one I did yesterday, without checking, I'm like, gosh, it feels a little squishy. And I put it in the egg slicer and it just everywhere. So these things happen, right? So our turtle soup is natural pressure releasing. Our burgers are done. Our buns are getting toasty. So we are just chugging right along here. I was going to say something, but I want to see what happens with this egg. I don't want to jinx myself, you know what I'm saying? So, woohoo! All right, friends. What I was going to say, and I didn't want to say it before I did the third one, was I love it when they peel easy. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go again. Keep an eye on those. I need a new egg slicer. One of my wires does not sit where it's supposed to be. Anybody got a good recommendation? Did they have one they really like? Can you tell me where you got it? Oh yes, that cut the way it was supposed to. All right. So my last one, I think it's a Pampered Chef. I probably had this thing for 10, 15 years. So, and it doesn't look to be one where you can replace the wires, unfortunately. I mean, I know I can always go to somewhere like Williams-Sonoma, but that tends to be expensive. I don't want a Walmart, but I'd also not sure I want a Williams-Sonoma either. But all right, those cut exactly like they're supposed to, because that's what they look like inside. Woohoo! Okay. Can't see it. All right, we're about 10 minutes in on the natural pressure release. We should be good to open that. And put that back. I said before, I tend to clean up as I go. So this is kind of weird for me to have to not put things away because I'd be off camera half the time. All right, so we've got that. Hey, IT guy, can you come help me? All right. This is still hot. I just need a place to put it. Actually, I'll be right back. Oh, there he is. Okay. Take it by the handles, please. And just set it. You can set it on the stove. It should be fine. All right, clear ourselves a space so we can do what we need to do. So, see? They all came out so nice. Yay! All right. A piece of garbage. Okay. There's our kind of toasty. Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. He's listening, so he knows. But, all right. I'm going to pull out the buns. So they'll be soft on top and crunchy in the middle. That one's a little crunchier. And then this one. They're going to be persnickety about it. Go with that. This is mine. Again, cross-contamination isn't a huge issue for me. So if I were doing this for someone who was more sensitive, I would not be sharing spaces. I would not be sharing equipment. I would have something entirely separate for them. So some people I know can't even use the same toaster. So a lot of people I know who are celiac and then also, and who also have family members who are celiac or who are not and eat gluten, what they will sometimes do is they will have two toasters or two, like they'll have like two of these things so they can cook things separately. And I guess I could have cut these open from the beginning because these are too big to fit. They're too wide, which is not going to make anybody in my family sad. So to assemble them, you will take your patty, which will be mine because it fits better on my sandwich. And then put this on my husband's, and this will be IT guys. I'm going to wait on my husband's for sure. I had to grab my cheese. Sorry. IT guy got it out for me, but he left it on that side of the on that side of the table. So at least around here, provolone is the cheese of choice. And if you have Boar's Head, they actually have a version that has 43% lower sodium, which is nice for those of us watching our sodium. You'll notice I don't salt a lot of things. My husband's a type 1 diabetic and has blood pressure issues. I have some blood pressure issues. So the other thing is these are so nice and thin. You can kind of just cut them in half like that. I'll flip it that way. IT guy, do you want provolone cheese on yours? Yes, provolone. Yes, Boar's Head. Yep. They're the best around here. Okay, I got a thumbs up. You think one of these days I'll trick him into actually saying something on camera? Probably not. He's craftier than I am. Darn it. He took what I'm good at and got better at it. So, all right. Now, there's two schools of thought here, and I wish I'd put some foil on here, but I didn't, so no biggie. I'll just wash it. The way we do it, or the way I do it, I guess I should say, since I'm the one who's making them most of the time. I get the bottom together, and then this is a local pizzeria. And it is a favorite, although, like I said, we have several chains that my husband could eat probably one from each one of them weekly. He loves them so much. We don't, but he could if he was given the opportunity. And it wouldn't cause him all the strife that it does. So, all right, so this will be for me and IT guy. I'll set that right there. Ooh, sweating. It's warm in here. So I'm just going to do that again. Hit the broil. Throw this stuff away. Blot my face. Oh yeah, I understand. We don't do a lot of processed meat anyway. Just not good for us. So every once in a while we do. I'll do it for a recipe. Yeah, I forgot about that. I honestly forgot that they had it. So is it for concern that you that it'll happen again? I'm just curious. You don't have to tell me, but at least I'm thinking that's what it is. When they had some that was contaminated. Oh. And to be authentic and truthful, when we eat hoagies, usually they're wrapped in paper, and we'll just eat them on the paper, or that's when it's a paper plate night. But we also have some soup to look at as well. So while that's doing its thing, let's see if we're done releasing pressure. We are. I can take that out. Come on, lid. All right. I'm going to grab a bowl. I'll be right back. So this is the one time it actually pays to have a small kitchen. All right, there's one of our, well, okay, I learned my lesson. Trying to pull out the lemon slices in there. When I get over to the edge with the ladle, they're getting away from me. So there's one. Get the meat out of it. And where'd you go? There they are. All right, there's the second one. Same thing, get the meat out of it. You can see like the inside of the lemon has cooked away. Now, I do know people who would most definitely blitz this up and make it a lot finer, make the meat a lot finer than it is. And then here's my lovely spice ball. That out, set it to the side. This has some substance to it, to be honest, so which doesn't bother me at all. But the purists among us would say it needs to be thinner. The meat would, or not thinner, but it needs to be more, what's the word I want? Finely minced up. So, and this is the way I learned to eat it, was you basically decorate the top of it with hard-boiled egg slices. I also know people who actually put the hard-boiled eggs in the soup to give it a little more body. So some people also will do like a squeeze of lemon on there. Not for me. So there's our turtle soup. I hope you guys can see that. And I guess I should try it, huh? Should give it a little tasty taste. See how we did. Oh, the other thing, if you want at the end, a lot of them will say to just give it a splash of some sherry cooking wine. I'm going to skip that today. I'm going to give this a try with the egg, of course. Oh, that's hot. You know what? We're going to wait. I'm going to go ahead and get go ahead and get these guys out. There's mine on the sourdough, all melty and warm. And here's IT, guys. I hope he's hungry. He ate not long before stream, so he might not be super hungry, but he doesn't necessarily want to try the soup anyway. So, okay, like I said, you want pickles, IT guy? I actually found some pickles like they have at these places. That's not as easy as you think these days, to just find your basic pickle chip, dill pickle chip. I'm going to put a couple of those on there for him. And I'm going to grab a few for me. It's funny that my husband likes pickles on this, because usually when he's got pickles with a burger, he hands them to me. I'm not a huge pickle lover, but I like them more than he does. So, okay, so there's his, there's mine. Put a lid on mine. And actually, that's what my hoagie looks like. There it is with its lid on it. And no, I don't make it crunchy on both sides because I don't want the top of my roof torn up. So, just a personal thing. Some people like it, some people don't. They like it toasted all the way through. I do not. I'm also going to do myself the favor of cutting this thing in half. Because I know me. So, here we go. For somebody who can't eat a hoagie anymore, that's heaven. It's not exactly the same, but oh my goodness. So good. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. We don't really have much of a choice. Well, if I made you hungry, Joan, I did my job. I still want to cook for you one of these days. I'll make it down there, I promise. Okay, so now we'll try the soup. I love it. Here's the thing. It does have a bit of a lemony taste to it. It's different. It's not what you're often expecting with a beefy soup, which I think is what makes it so good. So there you have it. That's our mock turtle soup, our gluten-free and gluten-filled actually. Steak hoagies, Cincinnati steak hoagies. Tomorrow we're going to make, I call it a local delicacy. We are going to make what we call geta, and I'm going to show you some of the many ways that we eat it. So I would love for you to show up tomorrow. It's really kind of a sausage, so it'll be fun. So join us tomorrow, same time, 3:30, and we're going to fire up some geta. For now, I'm probably going to share that soup with a whole bunch of people and share these hoagies with my family. I wish you a wonderful evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Love you guys, and you're welcome, Christy. I appreciate you being here all the time. So, and for the rest of you, I know you're all regular watchers, and I do appreciate you so, so much. Anybody who's new, please hit subscribe, and you'll get notifications when I'm live, which is going to be at least 3 to 4 times a week the rest of the month. Love you guys. Have a good one.